The In This League Podcast Network. In this ring, in this corner, Joe Pisapia. This corner, Tim Heaney. Gentlemen, let's go.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, and welcome to In This Ring, the greatest wrestling podcast in the history of the universe. And let me tell you, I am going to be on my high horse today. I've got all kinds of feelings. I've got all the feels. I've got all kinds of rage. I've got so much rage about so many things.
God's name, can that human being be from this planet? How can he? Does he have no conscience? Does he have no heart? Do you have no soul?
That Tim Heaney insisted, my esteemed partner Tim Heaney insisted that I hold some of it till halfway through the show because he's worried that if I just let loose at the top here, that we might not make it through. But we've got a huge show for you today. We've got great stuff going on in New Japan, all the stuff going on with the Strong Style Evolved, an amazing evening of work and some incredible storylines and progress and lines being blurred, all the things that we want going on. Plus, we've got all the pointing to the sign you could possibly imagine. So much pointing to signs and staring at trophies. There's an amazing amount of things to get to in WWE. Plus, the person who I think is going to single-handedly potentially ruin WrestleMania for me. And I'm so mad about it. But I'm keeping a lid on it, Tim. I'm trying my best. I promise you, Tim. I'm trying my hardest.
Deep breaths, Joe. It's okay. You're in a safe space. You can rave in your basement with us. It's fine.
Oh my God, Tim! I'm so mad. I hate her. I hate her so much, Tim. All right. Enough. Let's start with the news. I'm going to take a deep breath and let's start with New Japan. Let's start with the strong style. Let's start with the good. And maybe that'll put me in a better mood and just kind of bide us some time. But let's start with the good. Let's start with the Strong Style Evolve, Bullet Club, Golden Lovers, all this amazing stuff. And, you know, we'll get to Cody and Marty and those guys, and we'll get to Ospreay. But first, let's talk about this whole, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, the implosion of all that stuff, which was I think always a direction that eventually had to happen. I was actually a little surprised that they did it as soon as they have. I thought they could have extended this a little bit longer, but good for them getting out in front and not letting things get stale and being proactive instead of reactive, which is something we will continuously always kill the big companies for doing. And they went out and did it. And, let's take it through. And for those who don't know, set it up for them if they're unaware of what's going on and take us through the match, Tim.
Well, it's kind of been a slow burn the last couple of months of the Bullet Club kind of breaking up. And, the Young Bucks have said that they want to break the club up much sooner than this actually in New Japan. So I think it's actually kind of working with their feed here. Cody's being kind of the virus of this whole group ever since Cody Rhodes joined, the Bullet Club. He wants to take over the reins and stuff. And Kenny Omega has been caught in some interesting situations like protecting friends and stuff like that. And so there's been a bit of a power struggle there. And it's kind of come to a head these last couple of weeks. After Omega lost the IWGP US title to Jay White, one of your new favorites, and deservedly so because he was awesome. We'll talk about that match later. But Omega's kind of Omega for all the crappy things he does as a heel, he always does end up being about respect most of the time. So that's always a good thing. Like he's the integrity of the group, and then Cody's just all for himself, wants to promote himself. So there's been kind of the fractures. The fractures forming there, and it's come to a head. At this event over in Long Beach, great spot for it. It looked like because the audience was crazy. So, Golden Lovers. I skipped the entire reunion of that. So when Omega was getting attacked by Cody after losing that IWGP, Kota Ibushi came down to rescue him, his former tag partner from their young boy days, I guess. So they reunited as the Golden Lovers, a tag team they used to be back in the day. Talk more about them in a bit, but that match was just pure tag team excellence. It's one of those Meltzer darling type of matches. It's just a fun all around this whole event, and that's the perfect main event, even though it was a tag match with nothing on the line.
And I understand they got the all-in event coming up, and it's still a while away. But to me, this is the kind of stuff, if you can get out there in front of things and push all this kind of, great spin, good storylines, great personalities. You can have all the good storylines in the world. If you don't have the personalities to pull them off, then they fall flat sometimes. And this whole thing with the Golden Lovers too, there's an article on Yahoo Dave Doyle wrote, and I'm just going to, quote some of it. I had found it and sent it to you, and we were talking about how we really thought it surmised it very well. And this is just a snippet, so I'm just going to read from this real fast. Are the Golden Lovers gay? Are they just close friends? Are they simply professional acquaintances working to pursue mutual goals? The best professional storylines are the ones that blur the lines between fact and fiction, leaving it up to the individual viewer to draw their own conclusions, where reality ends and fantasy begins. And to me, that's exactly where we want to be. In this era right now, the Attitude Era, I feel like was the first real gray area. And now we're getting into a deeper version of gray too, where we're blurring some more lines, whether it be sexuality or other things, when you have characters like Velveteen Dream and other characters like that, where you can get away. And I'm going to bring this up later in the show with a tag team that I think it's time for them to be repackaged and start to walk this kind of line too. I think this is great and good for Kenny Omega, who basically said, yeah, you could think whatever you want. That's awesome. That's the whole point of it. And that's why we kind of leave it open to interpretation. How do you feel about the storyline and where they're taking this relationship?
Oh, it's fantastic. And, we talk about, NJPW's booking all the time. I think they're the one company that right now with the writing, the way they do it, we can trust them to handle this sort of thing. That's a heavy issue. I mean, the fan base is, for the most part, pretty darn intelligent and in tune with what's going on here, with this and, even social issues. So I think it's very much, it's the right medium for it to be going on right now. We've had instances of the past in WWE where we were wondering how sincere they were being and taking on some things like this. Billy and Chuck didn't work out totally great. Goldust was good for a while, but that's kind of vacillated in between parody and actual meaningful stuff going on there. As much as I love Goldust, I love that. I just worried that, the company wasn't always taking him the same way as we would view him. So,
Well, do you think with Goldust it was a matter, Tim, of great idea, right guy to do it, but
absolutely, yeah.
And in fact, I feel like a couple episodes ago we actually kind of touched on this vibe that if Goldust was a character coming out now, it would have been a whole different sort of bag. I mean, he was really pushing the envelope then, and he wasn't necessarily doing anything that controversial. Whereas now, it's almost like a passive kind of character when you think about it in this day and age, that if they had tried to push the envelope with that kind of character now, it could have been hugely successful because of, we're just more accepting as a society of different ideas and different concepts.
Yeah. I mean, the Attitude Era was a good time to, around then was kind of a good idea to debut it because, then again, not the whole purpose, but there was a big part of it that was supposed to be like a trolling of the fans, because he was a little bit on the sexually ambiguous side, which I don't know. I mean, I think I think, Dustin, did a great job with that whole thing. He played the part perfectly for what he was asked to do. I think Goldust having evolved into the great veteran, the flamboyancy style, it's still really worked out well for them. So, but yeah, I mean, this Omega and Ibushi, that's just like, there's no need to talk anything about that otherwise because they're just, they're amazing in the ring for one. They're two of probably the 20 best wrestlers in the world for sure there. And, the culture, it seems to be a little bit more accepting of that whole thing because, they have a lot of just, deeper friendship type of things going on in that New Japan sort of thing. So I don't know. I love what they're doing here. I hope one day WWE can embrace doing this a little bit more strongly at this point. So yeah, it's a good lesson to learn in character development for sure.
Well, do you think the last 6 months or so of everything that Kenny Omega has done, whether it be fight Jericho, whether it be kind of, I don't want to say putting over in the sense the Young Bucks, but, because they did still win the match, right. But, in the sense of, allowing some of the other guys around to shine, is that a signal that, maybe he's looking to make the move to the big company at the end of the year?
I mean, that's what, all the guys that kind of jumped before did already, Nakamura, Styles, they that's the rule. You leave a company, you put the other guys over, you go out on your back, so to speak. So,
he's at least setting them up for success. Whether or not he's putting them out on the back, I don't know.
Yeah.
But he's at least setting them up for success. Right. And I think that's the point that's kind of what I see from that point of view.
I think it might be the one to break Okada's run. They might build him back up to that
That's
again.
Fair.
I mean, if they get this Bullet Club stuff done, he might be the one to come back and get his win back. I mean, does he need it? Maybe not because he's already established, but I don't know. It has yet to come to me who could be the one to break Okada's run, but it'll be a great way for Omega to if he wants to stay, do that. But of course, if he wants to leave, then that's something that would be a different path for somebody else.
Now, speaking of Okada, too, him and Ishii versus Suzuki and ZBJ, what was your take on that match, too? I was curious what your feel was. That's brutal, right?
It looked, Minoru Suzuki is just fun to watch. I mean, after all this time getting his first, Intercontinental Championship run, the catch style wrestling, shoot style type of fighting is just, he looks like he's really trying to hurt people, but he's doing it so safely, of course. And, excellent work between him and Ishii. They had they have those couple of times where they just are in the ring alone. The audience goes silent. They listen to how loud the chops and the headbutts are. It's so fun. I mean, I'm not usually one to drool over stuff like that, but when it's done as artfully as that, you gotta like it. And obviously, Zack Sabre Jr. being the submission master, Suzuki Gun, the tag team that those two guys have, the Suzuki and him, is just fantastic stuff with technical wrestling. And Okada, he didn't have to do much here. I think he just really was just all about showing up. And, they took a double submission to lose. So, but Suzuki and Sabre needed the push because Sabre's facing Okada next week for the title. So that's going to be a fun one. But, yeah, that was a good clinic in how to do numerous different styles in the same match.
And, of course, Will Ospreay is always somebody to watch. I mean, his work in the ring is just spectacular. Last week I talked about the match he had against the Time Bomb there. And it's just, just so great, And if you're missing this stuff and you're a wrestling fan, like let's say you're a hardcore WWE fan and you've never really watched New Japan, you're like, why? What do you do? Just go watch. If you don't have the AXS or Access Network, whatever the hell it's called, and you can't get it that way, you can get it online. And I kind of, I brought this up. I did a show with Petey Williams this week over for Wrestling Perspective. He and I hosted the show together. And I asked him, I said, in this digital age, do you think it's possible for a real, these independents to really join and unite together on the digital platforms and really compete in a different way or maybe an unexpected way against, the big behemoth of the WWE? And he kind of thought it was it was possible to do if everybody continued that thing where they allow people to show up on other people's shows and all that stuff and cross-promote in that way. And I kind of agreed with him. What's your take on that? This digital platform, direct-to-consumer that we all are a part of now, whether it be Facebook or YouTube or whatever that is, there's different ways to reach audiences in the streaming world than there was 20 years ago. I don't know if we'll ever get to like a WCW Monday Night Wars kind of situation again, but I think at least there's the opportunity because I think New Japan is really, in the last, I would say 2 years, they've really, I think, raised the bar in terms of the product. And look, and they've made good choices too in terms of who they push and how they push them.
Yeah, I mean, for the internet, there's definitely more avenues for streaming. People finding out about the Young Bucks, being the elites, the web series has been fantastic stuff. They've had some good memes come out of that. And, the Young Bucks, they're just great guys with fun personalities. They're good showmen. And there's, it's kind of like Zack Ryder used to do on WWE, that he got himself over by doing all the YouTube stuff. And, you can take advantage of that now. You can, like Ring of Honor does a lot of online stuff now, like the Women of Honor tournaments on Facebook now. I think WWE's even catching on to that with the Mixed Match Challenge that we've talked about.
Oh, yeah, sure. The little tiny Facebook promos and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
It's just different ways to kind of expand your character, expand your reach, and give yourself a bit more of a marketing promotion that it's not going to cost you tons of advertising dollars to do. So, yeah, I think smaller promotions, I think, are really smaller indie, whatever you want to call them, promotions. They're looking more towards this stuff as, all right, here's the way that we can express ourselves without having to run into WWE time or something like that.
All right, one more big bit of news that we want to get to before we go crossover to hashtag point to the sign is one of my favorites in the independent world making his way to NXT, which was only a matter of time because, when we talk about the guy who can do it all and in terms of star power, maybe he's not the biggest guy in the world, but I'll tell you what, Ricochet has star power. He's got charisma. He's got that thing where everything stops because you want to watch him in that ring and you want to watch him work. You don't know what's going to happen next. When he enters the arena, everything stops. When he's on that stage, I can't take my eyes off him. I love me some Ricochet. I could not be more excited about this. We were making a list, you and I. We were talking off air about guys that we wish our top 5 guys, like pie in the sky. And mine, when we were talking last couple months ago, was Ricochet. And now he's here. And I'm not surprised, but I think this is another thing where you're looking at that trend of WWE is accepting of the smaller, more athletic competitor and realizing that not everybody has to be 6'5" and 270 in order to be someone who can carry the company.
Yeah, I mean, Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles alone could have proven that the last couple of years.
They have, but I mean, they're always fighting against that old guard Vince mentality. And look, this is not a knock on Braun Strowman. He's the most athletic. I've never seen anybody that big, that athletic, and that fast. Right. He's a fast guy for it. Yep. Like, you ever see him like chase somebody? I love watching Braun Strowman chase somebody because that guy is fast for a big man. And, you know, look, if you're not familiar with Ricochet's work, my God, please go to YouTube and go check out some of these matches. Go check out him and Ospreay. Go check out him and Mysterio. Go check them all out because they're just great. So your take on the Ricochet move to NXT, do you think he's a quick rise, or do you think they keep him there for a little while just to get his, get acclimated to the company?
I wonder if he's going to be 205 live bound.
God, I hope not.
I'm not
I
sure
think he's better than that.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And, it's the problem they get into when they have so many good guys like this. You have to choose the guys that also have to just kind of rule the roost at NXT for a while. Nakamura did it. Bobby Roode did it. The guys that you kind of had to transition. Like Styles didn't need the transition at all. I mean, that's right. There was no need there. I mean, Ricochet, he's good on the mic. I think it could be better. So that's one way that he can really work at NXT to really do that. And I'll just say Prince Puma, Lucha Underground, when he was playing that character, phenomenal matches. I mean, stuff that he would wrestle these hour-long matches that took up an entire episode. He was champion for a while. Great stuff. And, the Rey Mysterio match was pretty epic there. I'm a big fan of Ricochet. Hope they can find a really elite spot for him. I mean, that one of those things where these companies, WWE is getting bloated with talent. Got to find creative ways to make them feel important, and you don't want that to slip away with this guy because he's so good.
Yeah, and you know what? And here's two other things to that. Bloated with talent, number one, is not a bad thing. Number two, they've had so many injuries in the last 12 months where they're losing stars all the time. It feels like that. I feel like they need it. And number three, it's time to get rid of some of the dead weight. Yeah, it's time to cut bait, and I know that's going to happen. And I think part of the bloat of the talent is, after WrestleMania, we all know a lot of people's contracts tend to come up around that time, right? So there's going to be a purge, and we'll see. And maybe that's something maybe for the next couple of weeks we'll talk about. And I know after WrestleMania, we're going to have Adam Rank on from NFL Network, who's a huge wrestling guy, and he's going to come on and do the post show with us after WrestleMania. So we're going to have a special edition of the show post WrestleMania. On that Monday, we're going to do it. So stay tuned, kids, for that. All right, let's go point to the sign. Let's talk about Raw from last night. I hated Raw. Not last night, from Monday, I should say. Yeah. I hated Raw. I hated it. Okay, this is rage point number one. If everything that we were talking about for the last couple months of look at the change, look at the action, look at what we're seeing, and we're seeing so much more wrestling and so much less nonsense. And I get it. I understand it's WrestleMania. We're pushing the storylines hard. Blah, blah, blah. I get it. But there's more than one way to push a storyline, and there's more efficient ways to do it. And I don't want to watch the same repackaging of the same thing I saw 5 times when you showed it to me in replay. I'm annoyed. It was a bad show, and you could do better. You could do better, WWE. There's a better way to do better. I'm literally wagging my finger at you like an old Rafael Palmeiro in front of the Congress, telling people that he didn't do steroids. That's how I'm wagging my finger right now. You can do better, WWE. It's the redundancy of it all. Well,
that's what happens when you just beat the certain match types into the ground, and you have all this time until WrestleMania, and your writers don't know what to do with themselves. And next week we're getting Rollins and Balor again in the ring. Let's just use them up before they fight in a triple threat. Amazing.
Yeah, well, and not only that, but then to rehash basically the Brock Roman segment in a different way again.
Roman Reigns, the guy with the wettest hair. Roman Reigns, the guy who just doesn't care.
Here's the thing that I don't get, and it's mind-numbing to me because they're trying. I think they're trying to make this whole wow, Roman Reigns just won't give up. No matter how much you beat him, he's going to come back for more, like Rocky. And I don't know if it's going to work. It might work. It might not. But I know the thing that would work. And the thing that would work is the thing I am positively 100% sure that Brock Lesnar doesn't want to do, which is get his ass punked out and beaten up all over the place, of Roman Reigns just being this guy who, a la Stone Cold Steve Austin, waiting in the wings, waiting behind you in corners in the dark, coming out and kicking your ass when he's not supposed to be there. That wins. That gets you over. They're walking a very fine line here, Tim. Do you think it's going to work? Because I'm not sold.
I think the match will be good. I'm not worried about the match. I'm worried about the build-up, like you are. I'm sure Brock does not want to look so weak before WrestleMania. I hope next week that Roman gets his shot in. I hope he gets his one-up on Brock to make it look like he can actually beat him and not just come out of nowhere on WrestleMania Day and beat him, even though we all know it's going to happen. At least make us think it's not going to happen, or at least make us look like he is truly an underdog. Roman Reigns is not an underdog by any means. Comparatively to Brock, physically maybe he is, but I don't know. Like I said, the in-ring work will be fine. Roman will do his thing. Brock hopefully will do his thing, but the build has just been not what I've written about it.
All right, so give me your percentage. What's the percentage in your mind that Roman Reigns comes out as the champion in this match?
97%.
All right, so it's that high.
Yeah.
See, to me, I still have something in the back of my head where I feel like they're going to let they shock everybody and keep Brock around because they like this idea of Brock. And then Brock is just not the guy to do it. I hope not either, but I'm not quite at 97. I'll put it to you that way. I'm at 70% for that Roman's going to walk away with it, but I ain't at 90, and I ain't at 80 right now. That's just me. All right,
let's wrong, but yeah.
All right, all right. Let's talk about the entertaining. Again, I'm going to try to budget the rage. This is not even what I'm mad about, kids. This is just what I'm annoyed at. Wait till you get to what I'm mad about. Okay, let's talk about Miz and the whole segment there with the Miz Taraj, which I thought was very well done.
That was great.
I thought it was great, and I love that they built it there with Bo Dallas, and then he's talking about I'm going to be the greatest intercontinental champion ever, better than Macho Man, better than HBK, better than Mr. Perfect, and then you get that slow burn take, Curtis Angle turning around, and Curtis Axel, turning around, and to me that was just awesome. And then of course it's all just a work, and to me that was great because they really had everybody, and they even had me. And I was watching it with my kids yesterday. They were watching it on the DVR. And I said, "What do you think's going to happen?" And I already seen it, and they said, "I think they're going to turn on him." And then, so they succeeded. Well, there was a part of me that was kind of like, "Wow, are they really going this ring?" And Miz is going to be this man on an island by himself, which was a viable storyline.
Right.
Good for them. Great job, Miz. Yet again, the highlight in a show that I just despised. And, to me, that was it. I mean, what was your take on that one with that whole bit with Miz?
Oh, absolutely. And, Miz is, they're positioning him as the smart one of this group. So it makes sense that he would just own those two guys and just make them puppets basically in this whole thing and get one over on them. I think that's what he needs to do. It's a good character establishment that he needs to be the guy that smartens up and outsmarts these two premier athletes. That's how he survives. That's how he has been surviving. That's his whole Intercontinental Championship reign. So it makes sense. I hope he wins Sunday. It's going to be a great match, but I hope he wins. I want him to break the record. So, I hope that happens.
All right. Another in the good column of things, Sasha Bailey, fisticuffs in the locker room. Some nice sounds work with the lockers. You get nice banging sounds out of there. It looked like a
Saved by the Bell episode.
Oh, I'm so excited.
That's exactly what I thought of.
Scared.
So scared.
Yeah, terrific. I mean, I thought that was great. You wanted to see that. Everybody was ready for that. So that's a positive going in the right direction. Braun beating Sheamus, but still we don't have a partner for him for WrestleMania. So I'm hoping this. It's only going to go one of two ways. They're going to wait, obviously, till next week to do it, or it's going to be a surprise at WrestleMania. I vote for the latter. I want it to be a surprise at WrestleMania who his partner is, because I think, the show could use a little bit more questionable what's going to happen, because I feel like there's a lot of stuff where we kind of know where things are going to go. Right. And this would be a good one where I don't know who his partner is going to be. Is it going to be James Ellsworth? I don't know. Is it going to be, Jason Jordan? Is it going to be Samoa Joe? Yeah, remember Jason Jordan? It's funny. I just thought of him today and I went, oh, man, talk about a guy out of sight, out of mind right now. But where do you think they're going with this whole tag team partner? Is it just Elias? Is it simple like that?
I think it would be funny if it were Elias, but I don't see Braun. The more I think about it, I don't see Braun being that sympathetic to a guy he just owned, basically. Samoa Joe would be cool just to be like, all right, let's team up and just murder everybody, and then be champs for a long time. Yeah, or
and that might not be a bad thing for Samoa Joe, considering his injuries lately and his age of taking, it's kind of like that same route of Sheamus, where you take a little bit of physical pressure off of him and, again, kind of still let him kind of put this guy under his wing. I don't think that would be a bad decision at all from a practical standpoint.
Or you just do the I am the tag team champions again. So
yeah, right. I'm still fine with Braun just being by himself. Like, I'm still fine with that. I still say Braun being tag team champions is fine.
Anybody's believable, it's him in that role. So
that's what I mean. It's believable. It's different. It's kind of unique. And who could beat, this whole 2-on-1 monster? What you're doing is you're making him the new Andre the Giant in a way. When you start to do stuff like that. And I think that's fun.
New Big Show, new Giant, yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? But here's the difference. This guy can really go.
Young Big Show could go too, though. I mean,
he could, but
not at
Young
this
Big
level,
Show never did anything at this level, man.
85% of what Braun is now back in the day, I think. He had some crazy moments back in WCW.
I know. I remember him. I remember when he first came up when he was young and all.
But Braun's a whole other specimen.
Braun's just in a different class, man. Yeah. Big Show never left his feet. You know what I mean? Not of that. You don't see him throwing drop kicks. You know what I mean?
Not very often. You're right. It was very, very minimal, but that was the cool part of it. But Braun's drop kicks look okay for a guy his size. So.
Yeah, they do, man. I mean, Braun fights like a guy, who's 6 foot sometimes, and it's just amazing to watch. Do you have any favorites that you'd like to put in there as his potential partner? Is there anybody else I'm forgetting?
I think I mentioned the 3 I really like. Well, the third being just him. The Shadow, whatever. This is his partner, but
is this an opportunity to bring up an NXT person and expose him too? I never even thought of that till just now.
I don't know. It would seem like it would just be kind of lumped in. I think it would need a separate thing. I mean, Aleister Black, you wouldn't want Aleister Black being lumped into this because he's his own entity of persona. You don't want to spoil that chance at all.
No, but that would be a cool pairing. That's for sure.
Absolutely, but it wouldn't mesh character-wise with.
It wouldn't mesh character-wise, but the difference of style in terms of the size and one guy's quickness and the other guy's brute strength. My God, that would be incredible.
Or if they break up Sanity, Killian Dane would be a hell of a partner.
It would be
the mass.
It would be, or a guy like Eric too, to bring him up and let him be the little guy and the big guy and the guy who can really talk and kind of bring Braun along with that whole group. Maybe, I don't know, and that's how you introduce Sanity.
Imagine if Braun was in Sanity.
Well, yeah, I mean, I can. It's
crazy.
Well, there's a lot of options. I feel like it's going to disappoint, but at least bring it to WrestleMania and let me be surprised. I think that's
sure
where I want to go with it. All right. Here's what you all been waiting for, and I'm going to tease it. All right, here it is. We all know what happened here. We all know they fed absolution to Ronda Rousey. They fed them to her, to keep trying to build her up. And we're going to hit a break. And I'm telling you right now, okay, this whole thing with Ronda Rousey, it came to a head. There's been some rumors flying around too. We are going to stop here for a moment. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the absolute disgrace of appearances that she did on a junket. I'm going to talk about the absolute disgrace that's going to be WrestleMania and absolutely what's going to be one of the worst things WWE has ever done in terms of putting celebrities over product. Stick with us, kids. I'm about ready. Woo! In this ring. We'll be right back after this.
In this ring.
Get down. Let's get back to ringside.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to In This Ring. That's enough teasing now. It's time to put my money where my mouth is. All right, let's fire up the rumor mill.
I love rumors. Facts can be so misleading. Were rumors true or false are often revealing.
Okay, so apparently, Tim Heaney, there's a lot of resentment going on backstage. Ronda Rousey almost is kind of walking in here like she's Brock Lesnar, and she gets her own dressing room and her own special treatment. And, the perks and all that stuff, I understand it. I get it. I understand she's a little bit different of an animal. We all understand who she is and what she is. But let's start with this whole thing. If you want to ingratiate yourself to the team of people who, at the end of the day, Tim, you and I both know, it's the team of people who are going to put you over and help make you great. You don't go out there into that ring and work by yourself, whether it be on the mic, whether it be in the ring. if you don't start to foster good relationships with these people who are going to be your dance partners, you are going to have a bad time. Okay, I'm just going straight South Park on you. If you pizza when you're supposed to French fry, you're going to have a bad time. And I don't think she's pizzaing or French frying. She's doing neither. And Tim, I think this is a dangerous road for Ronda Rousey to be walking, whether it's intentional or not, whether she's got bad social skills, which it seems like she does, which we'll get to in a second. But Tim, I think this is a really bad precedent that she's setting right off the bat.
It's not a great start. I'm not going to disagree with you there. Yeah, I could see. I don't know if she's even doing it intentionally. I'm going to speculate here. Some people are just a bit less in tune with what to do in backstage areas. The respect they have to pay.
I don't think she's. I don't want to put this in the wrong way. She's not a. I respect Ronda Rousey. I want to put this out there. I respect her as an athlete. I respect her as a determined person. I respect her abilities. I respect how much she's fought in life. The story of her, and they duped me. I was here last week saying, okay, good job. You made me care about her and you duped me. But the whole story of her living in her car when she's 15 so she can go to the Olympics and all this stuff, she never finished high school. She's clearly got a huge insecurity complex somewhere in here. And I don't think she is that bright. And I don't want to say like she's not smart or savvy or any of those things. I'm saying that from that standpoint, I don't think intellectually, I think she gets intimidated easily. So she fights back physically, right? As most people do who can't, meet you on an intellectual level. And whether that's part of it, like she doesn't, she feels uncomfortable or she's awkward socially, it's not a good thing at this point in your life in this business. This business is a relationship business. And it's a terrible precedent to be setting.
Yeah, it's definitely she doesn't look smooth when she's talking to anybody. It seems like. I'm not saying that everyone has to be the best talker, but you're trying to prove to us that you want to be here and you want to do all this. Do you want it to sound so scripted that you're not really feeling it? I mean, that's what I'm talking about. The WWE videos production department, they can make anything look amazing. And the best thing that's come out of Ronda so far has been the video package with Kurt Angle the sit down interview they did last two Raws ago. Not this past one. But that's a controlled environment. When you're out live performing in front of those people and you're not trying to just do a regular fight, you're trying to also fight and remember lines and remember choreography. It's a whole different ballgame.
It's just, and again, I keep going back to the same thing too, that I think they're setting up for failure in the ring where, I understand she's in there with two highly experienced people with Kurt Angle and Triple H who are going to take good care of her.
Right. But
she's also going to be there a lot with Stephanie, and I'm not saying Stephanie is not somebody who's going to be prepared because she is. I'm not going to say they're not going to work this match to death, I'm sure, beforehand. I'm sure they've been working it for the last, couple of weeks to get everything right. But it's another thing when something goes wrong in that match, or there's one spot that's off, or, you can't call for and anticipate what it does when you have that size of a crowd and it's that loud. The adrenaline level. I mean, I know the difference. I have fought in front of, 25 people, and I've fought in front of 1,000-seat theaters. I have fought in front of huge groups before. There's a different adrenaline rush that you get that you have to learn to control. And it's different in UFC where you could just let go of it and just pound on somebody. And it's a different thing when you're trying to take care of somebody in terms of telling the story of the match. Everything is going in the direction of ultimate train wreck for me as we continue to get closer and closer to it. Like they're going to, you forgot point to the sign. How about drive a train through the sign? I feel like that's where we're going to be at soon.
Well, she would do that awkwardly too, I think so.
Yeah, she would. She would smile first, really, really big, and then angrily drive the train through the sign. And you're like, what's going on? And speaking of completely, absolute nutso, if you haven't seen it, I saw it yesterday at the gym, and I immediately, when I saw it, I went and I messaged you. I was like, dude, I just saw the weirdest interview ever. I saw it live as it happened. It was on ESPN. So the other point of having Ronda Rousey in WWE is to get publicity, right? Because she puts eyeballs on the product. So they trot her out on ESPN, right? And they put her on with Golick, and he asks her the story about, do you ever think you want to go back in time to, fight again or anything like that? And she literally, all she gets hung up on the idea of the words go back in time. If I said that to you, if I said, Tim, do you ever want to go back in time to, when you were in high school and, you were on the school paper or whatever it is, right? Well, you would understand what I'm saying. You understand the idea of that question, yes?
Well, he's like, in time, would you want to go back? Eventually, instead of in time, would you think about going back to the ring?
He actually used the words "go back in time." Did he
I
not?
know.
Right. So
You're
he
right,
went and used it in back in time, and her response was, "Go back in time? I can't go back in time." It was like a bad Saturday Night Live sketch where the person's like, I kept waiting for her to like. I thought it was a work at first, and then as time went on, it got more and more awkward.
I was hoping she was just being snarky, but
I thought she was being snarky too, but she wasn't. She literally just got hung up. I can't go back in time. Can I? Can I do that? Do we have that kind of technology where we could go back? And then you pointed out to me after I told you in the afternoon, after I saw it, you said, "Did you see this one?" And I said, "What do you mean? There's a second one?"
And there was a second.
Oh my God, there was a second one. Go ahead, you set this one up because I did the last one. Go ahead, you take this one.
Max Kellerman, he asked a question a little bit in a roundabout way. Happens sometimes, if you're experienced with interviews, you kind of wait these things out and kind of see where they take you. And then what was it? I'm trying to say, like, the fact that he was trying to initially say,
he was saying, like, do you think that people got down on you as a fighter, whatever it is, right? Because you lost,
right,
and that wasn't fair.
And then Ronda just wouldn't respond for like 20 seconds, and then basically Ronda thought that Max was saying that he was one of those people that was going to be down on her because of that.
When it was clear, he even set up the question. He even set up the question. He's like, he even said, basically, "I'm not one of these people who thinks this. I think you're an incredible athlete, and I think people are way too harsh on you. Do you think that people are way too harsh on you because you lost 2 fights? Meanwhile, you were dominating for a couple of years." And she was basically like, "Well, I think people like to mask things that they like to say, but," and I'm like, God, it's not, look, publicity, I understand. No, there's no such thing as, bad publicity. It's all just publicity. But let me tell you something, okay? She's going out there. She's embarrassing you in these interviews. I'm afraid embarrassing you in all the stuff that's leading up to it. I'm afraid she's going to embarrass you at WrestleMania. This experiment is not going to work. And the worst part of it all is it's taking away from this women's revolution line that's going on, that's so strong, and the women have worked so hard, and it's killing these 1A wrestlers like the Naomis and Beckys and the Mandys who are right there. All these people are right and ready to go to that next level. It's taking away time from them. It's taking away TV time. We have to watch Asuka in some stupid squash match from Raw for 2 seconds where she kicks a woman in the face after she slaps her, and that's the end. That girl got to talk on the mic longer than she was fighting in the ring, which was astonishing to me that they even let her talk. And it's annoying. It's annoying. I'm annoyed. Yeah. It's going to be an epic failure. 6 months from now, she's gone. I'm calling it right now. What's today? Today is the 28th of March. All right. So by my birthday, September 26th, kids. By the way, you could send me stuff at Twitter at Joe Pisapia 17.
I'm the 16th. Get to me first.
Okay, he is the 16th. Send him stuff. Send us some T-shirts. Send us a belt. Send us something cool if you like the show. Bobbleheads. All of it's acceptable. By my birthday, Ronda Rousey is out. She is a non-entity in the WWE. She might be gone by SummerSlam. They might try to make it all work for her, but it's not going to work. The experiment is going to be an epic and utter failure. All right, kids, let's move on.
Put it
SmackDown.
on the board.
How's that for a transition?
Yeah, seriously.
SmackDown Live, Daniel Bryan and Shane, obviously. We all knew this is where it's going. We said this over a month and change ago, that this is where things might go as long as Bryan could get cleared, and he did, and all this stuff. Shane appears healthy and all that stuff. But look, to me, this is the match. It's going to happen. We all knew this, and it's going to be good. It's a good opportunity for Daniel Bryan to be taken care of a little bit as he kind of gets, back into the pool, so to speak. And he can't be with better people where Shane's going to let him shine. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn are going to be nothing but incredibly supportive and helpful. So I would say this is one of those matches I'm looking forward to, and I think a lot of the fan bases too.
It's going to work. You got 3 of the best, workers the last 20 years probably, and then Shane, hopefully this the real life stuff looks to be okay. I mean, we've seen him post pictures from the hospital and stuff like that with his kids. He seems to be all right. So you figure Shane will take a lighter role in this match. He'll sell hopefully his injuries and stuff, and he won't dive off anything. So it'll be a good match all around.
I love you, Shane McMahon, and I appreciate everything you've done for my stupid entertainment over the years. But I'm actually at a point now with Shane McMahon, as I get older, I just want to, Shane, you don't have to do it anymore.
He's done enough, man. We respect it.
You've done enough. You've done enough for me. I love you. I respect you. I want you to bring the Mean Street Posse back out with you and just hang out and just be cool. You know, you don't have to do it anymore. You've got a lot of kids. Just be well, all right? In groundswell news, Rusev pins Randy Orton, which I know made you stand up probably in the living room and applaud. And don't look now, but I kept wondering, well, how are they going to work Rusev into WrestleMania? What are they going to do? This Fatal 4-Way is a great opportunity. I say Rusev leaves with that belt at WrestleMania. What say you, Tim Heaney?
They better. We talked about this on this show again.
We did. We are like the soothsayers, man. We got it.
Let us book, man.
In this ring, man. In this ring right here. If you want to know what's going to happen 3 weeks from now, you need to be listening to this show every week.
What's going to happen in that ring, you listen to in this ring. Oh, there's our new tagline.
I see what you did there. I see what you did. You took one thing and you made it sound like another thing. Very nice.
It's called the pen. Rusev is the only one with any momentum of those four. Let it happen. You know, I mean, he's been a U.S. champ before, done well, and this time you make it the Bulgarian Championship.
Rusev Mania. Let's do it. Let's make it work. Now, of course, the only downside is you're going when. And not if, I'm going to say when this happens, you're just absolutely burying Bobby Roode. This is the opportunity of a lifetime for him where he can turn around and become a massive heel right away because everybody loves Rusev. Let Rusev win. Let Bobby Roode smash him after he has his 30 seconds of glory after the match. Turn Bobby Roode full heel, and there you go. There's your next month or 2 month versus those two guys.
Bobby Roode recruits a lackey of some sort, is the dickhead boss to him. Make it happen. It's Bobby Roode as a heel is just such gold. He's glorious, I would even say.
And you know what? There's nothing that's going to turn him faster than him beating up on Rusev right now. Yeah. That's it. There it is. Make
turn.
It work.
Double turn.
Hashtag double turn. Hashtag point to the side. All right. Charlotte Flair had an injury, so she was unable to go. They put it out there, which I thought was cool, even though I didn't believe for a second that when they posted the 3 names that Becky wasn't going to be one of the 3 people.
Of course.
So, Becky Lynch obviously steps in. They win that match. They go forward. I keep bringing up the same point, and I want to, I had this argument with my children, and I want to have it with you now. If Asuka and Miz lose, I don't think that matters about Asuka's streak. Do you? It shouldn't.
But they're pumping it up as it would, so.
I don't know. I think that's a terrible mistake.
It's huge. It's a huge mistake.
Because at this point, I think, and maybe it's okay because Asuka and Miz right now are so beloved. You just let them win and it's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I think
that's it.
It works out neatly if they win anyway. So
yeah, it's going to be fine. And then of course you had the quick match with Tyler Breeze and Dolph Ziggler. I did like Fandango running around the ring. I thought that was very funny. This has to go one of 2 ways. It's either time to completely repackage them and turn them into, and this is what I teased earlier in the show in the beginning about, let's start to walk a line here. Instead of making them the dopey fashion police kind of whatever, let's make them the slightly uncomfortable and a little bit more dangerous, walk the line sexually kind of dudes, like almost like a sexually ambiguous Young Bucks, because those 2 guys can wrestle. Tyler Breeze and Fandango, those guys can go, they can work. It's time to either repackage them or turn it completely the other way, make them so ludicrous, because right now they're kind of in between. They have these moments of ludicrous and entertaining, and then moments where they're kind of meh. Where you just it's just not, it falls flat. What would you like to see them do with Breezango?
I just think they need to get more TV time. Get the vignettes back somehow. Once in a blue moon, not every time, because every time it's gonna dilute them into just being a TV act. Which I'm glad they pulled them off at some point there. But you gotta reestablish them again. You can't just pull them off and just not do anything with them. So they've just been jobbing to the Bludgeon Brothers for all that time, and they need to get back to winning a little bit. So that needs to happen. But who do you do that against? It's tough. I mean, pushing them is going to be tough amongst that tag team crowd. So. Yeah, I mean,
well, usually you push them against. You push, and this is why I feel like they need that shakeup really, sooner than later. Here is if Braun gets that title with whoever it is, and if it's some kind of strongman thing, let them walk this other kind of dangerous line. Let them kind of be this uncomfortable. And I know it's hard because they want to make it a family product still, and I get all that, but there's ways to do it. And let's have the polar opposite. Let's do that, because right now they're kind of lost in the shuffle. There's too many good tag teams on SmackDown and not enough good tag teams. And them going against the Bar, them going against Braun and whoever else, if they should win there, that all works for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there'll be the levity. Everyone needs a role. They'll keep being the levity, but I don't know about making the platinum lovers, but
Yeah, but you know what? There's nothing wrong. But you know what? If we've seen that before, where they've basically ripped off gimmicks that work somewhere else, and I just think that those guys are wasted right now in numerous ways. They're entertaining and they can work, and when you have guys who could do both, it's just a shame to waste them. And I'll tell you who's improving on the mic too is Nakamura. I think every time he's out there, he's better and more comfortable. The English is getting better. It was one of the things I was really concerned with is if they're really going to push him to this top level at the big stage, he's got to be more audible. He's got to be more coherent. And again, I would be terrible speaking Japanese. I guarantee it. But, this is not my job. This is his job. And he's making strides. I think everything he did last night on SmackDown was terrific. Mm-hmm. And this whole knee to the face thing. And I knew he was going to stop and he wasn't going to knee him.
Yep.
I love where they're going with this. The psychological play between him and AJ is great. It's different. They're not stooping to some other level. They're building it up as these are two iconic guys that you want to see and we want to see, and they're just going to go at it, and it's enough. And they're not trying to layer on anything that's inconsequential to it.
Yeah. Neither of these guys is a heel. I mean, you got to give them a little bit more edge, and that's what I loved seeing out of Nakamura last night was that little bit of I'm going to beat you, but in like a more serious tone. Like, he used to be just kind of joking about it with his buddy AJ, but then last night he's like, I'm going to beat you, like as a matter of fact. And yeah, you're right. He looks more comfortable. He looks more like his NJPW and even NXT self. I love that they're doing the finisher teasing. Like, remember, like in WrestleMania X7, the Stone Cold and The Rock lead up was awesome because they were just going to tease each other's finishers on each other during the matches and stuff. So that I see part of that iconic, like you said, the mind games going on. And yeah, I hope Styles gets him in a Styles clash next week, but then drops him like just lightly and walks over to him and just says, see you Sunday or something. I hope there's a Styles, clap back if possible, if he's healthy enough to do it. But yeah, I cannot wait for this match. I've been dreaming for this match since they both got there. So
yeah, I think everybody is, and I keep making the argument that they should be the last match because they're going to screw it up. They're going to screw it up. It's going to be a letdown if they don't. It's the way to go. I don't care if it's Universal title. I don't care whatever it is. If you do it, you're gonna put even more heat on that Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar match than it has already. That people are annoyed about it, especially if Roman does win and there's going to be a split crowd and people are going to boo. That's not how you want to end WrestleMania. Okay, you want to end on a high note, and it doesn't matter who wins in the other match because it's going to be a high note because of the feeling, and you want to leave everybody in the building and watching on TV with a good feeling. And I just don't think there's no way you're going to leave them with a good feeling in the Brock Roman Reigns match. This is not going to happen.
As undeserved as it would be, maybe to some opinion.
And it's a valid point. It's probably not deserved. And you and I have been in the forefront of this. It's just not that bad. Everyone's got to get over themselves.
We'll get over it. But
Roman Reigns is just not that bad.
Roman Reigns, the guy with a lot of class. Roman Reigns, the guy who will kick your ass.
Okay, let's go to it. We always do our list. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, to make a list.
You just made the list!
The top 5 worst WrestleManias of all time. Tim, we'll start with you. Top 5 worst WrestleManias of all time. Go from 5 to 1. The floor is yours.
Well, at least we're getting this one out of the way before the fun stuff next week. WrestleMania 11 is my number 5 worst. The card is just terrible. I do think that having Lawrence Taylor and Bam Bam Bigelow as the main event, not the way to go about it. Taylor did okay for an athlete being in there, but
he just threw the shoulder tackle a million times. That's all he did.
Whatever, man. I mean, you know what? Bam Bam, and I'll say this: if we ever have a top 5 underrated wrestlers of all time list, Bam Bam Bigelow is probably going to be on mine.
And rumor has it he'll be in the Hall of Fame next year when it's in New Jersey, being the Jersey native he is.
Yeah, I mean, the way he carried Taylor during that match made it look like he was actually a threat, and he ended up winning. So, That's he got paid. He has payday for that, and he got his respect from the locker room for that for sure on that one. Number 4 is WrestleMania 1 because it's basically was like a cabaret show with a little bit of wrestling in it. You know, I'm all about the theater. I'm all about music and all that. You know, it was cool to see Cyndi Lauper and like celebrities get there. Muhammad Ali was there and stuff, but you know, where the hell was the wrestling? I wasn't even born yet, I don't think, when it happened, but watching it back, I'm like, ugh, really? All right. And with that vein, number 3, WrestleMania 2, you know, Raw 25 being in those 2 locations and then WrestleMania 2 being in 3 locations, that's pretty disgusting as well. You know, Hogan and King Kong Bundy, probably a fun match, but, you know, it's just that the split of the whole card just really wouldn't make sense to be able, especially back then when there's fewer technology than there is now. Would have hated that. Number 2 is WrestleMania 27. Michael Cole pinning Jerry Lawler. Well, not pinning Jerry Lawler, defeating him on disqualification of all things. Snooki pinning Michelle McCool. Rock, Cena, Miz, that whole lumpy thing at the end of it there where Rock interferes on Cena to set up a match that was not for a title, I believe. So, oh no, it was for a title, I think. No, it wasn't because Rock got Punk title. But anyway, that was just a horrendous. That was a time when I actually wasn't watching wrestling actively either, and I turned that on. I'm like, what the hell is that? I just watch.
It's almost as bad as The Hand when The Hand was born. You know, I'm still waiting for The Hand. I really hope The Hand.
Hey, Mark Henry sold The Hand. You know?
Mark Henry, I'm telling you right now, Tim and I put it out there last week. We're putting it out there again. The Hand should be inducting Mark Henry, a grown-up hand in a suit, should be inducting Mark Henry into the Hall of Fame. My dad, Mark Henry. Please. Okay, good. Continue.
And number 1, I'm sure a lot of you out there are going to agree with this one. WrestleMania 9. You know, Undertaker Giant Gonzalez match, probably the worst match of Undertaker's streak, or his WrestleMania career, maybe even his whole career, because that was just a disqualification because they chloroformed the Undertaker. That's how you win a match. That's fantastic. A guy on stilts in like a naked body muscle suit. Oh my God, like literal muscles, not like internal body muscles, not working out muscles. And Hogan, the whole Bret Hart, Yokozuna, Hulk Hogan thing. Let's just, especially after reading Bret Hart's book and reading what went into that, the way that he kind of politicked his way back in, and Vince can't say no to Hogan back then. Oh my God, it's just what a horrendous way to end a WrestleMania, and to deny Bret Hart of his first real big title. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to work from backwards to, look, I was at my number 5. I was actually at the building live. I was there in Philadelphia for WrestleMania 15. And as great as it was to be in there, and, when you look back on the event, although the brawl for all was really fun because Butterbean knocked Bart Gunn the F out. Yeah, that was fun to watch. It was lame. It was also the one where Big Boss Man got hung in the middle of the ring.
Yeah,
and we're all... Right. And we're looking around and we're saying, what did we just see? Is he dead? And you got to realize we'd been drinking in the parking lot for a substantial amount of time before we went in the arena. Mm-hmm. And then we went in the arena and things were going on like that where it was just weird. Now the last match was brilliant, but everything except that last match was a hot mess. And we were just...
Yeah, 15 was my number 6 worst.
Yeah.
That main event.
16 was there for me. My number 4 was number 11. I just, here's the thing. It's just when you go to that point and, the same reasons that you had, the Lawrence Taylor thing, I just thought was awkward. Some of the other matches just not good. Number 7 was my number 3. I didn't want to repeat too much of the things, but, for number 7, I mean, at the end of it all, the only 2 words you need to know, or should I say 2 people you need to know, Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter. Okay? It's just that whole gimmick angle of the whole, like, Sergeant Slaughter's gone Iraqi. Like, what kind of stupid nonsense. Like, that was just it was so pandering and so lame. And this was also the WrestleMania that, rumor has it at least, WWE likes to spin it like they were possible terrorist attack worries because it was so much heat on Sergeant Slaughter. Yeah. But I think it was in actuality they had to move it from the Coliseum to indoors because they weren't selling tickets. So, to me, I think that's what it was. You look at the rest of this card too. It's just not a good card, just generally speaking. When you go through, and the next one too, for me, my number 2. My number 2 is WrestleMania 2, I should say. Look at that. See, I got confused there a little bit.
Deuces all around on that one.
Deuces all around on that one. The 3 different locations was confusing.
Yeah.
I understand the concept they were trying to do, and it was, still closed circuit TV. It just felt awkward and disjointed. And, really, you've given everybody a small taste of WrestleMania instead of an entire crowd, a whole event. So it just kind of sucks. And then the worst WrestleMania ever. I am in agreement with you. Mm-hmm. It's WrestleMania 9 with the whole weird Roman theme. Let's not forget the Roman theme either, too. Right. Everybody's wearing togas and how lame because it was at Caesar's Palace and how awkward that was and stupid it was. That was dumb. The ending, too, is so frustrating. Yeah, Giant Gonzalez thing sucked, but the whole thing where there's an opportunity to pass the baton to the young kid, you don't do it, and instead you turn around and you hand Hulk Hogan yet another title for the 10 years in a row. And it's just so freaking lame. It's just so lame. And it was the quintessential reason of why I don't like Hulk Hogan. Yeah, you might have, maybe it was Vince, maybe it was Hogan, maybe it was both. Maybe it's just what they thought that people would always want to see, but it wasn't. And it was one of the beginnings of the end for WWE on the down slope before it started to listen. And if, Hulk Hogan was everything that was right and then wrong, then Stone Cold Steve Austin was everything that was right again when they listened to the fan base and let those people organically happen, and that's what it was. So there's your list. Yeah. Now, next week, are we doing Best WrestleManias? Is that what we're doing?
I think we need to cleanse our palate of this, so yeah, I would say.
Do you want to do Best WrestleManias, or do you want to do Best WrestleMania Moments? Or you want to do like the full card thing? Like how do you want to gauge this?
We can put it out to a vote.
All right, that's fair. Let's do that. Let's put it out to a vote. We'll put it on Twitter today or tomorrow. You can go out there and vote. We'll leave the poll up. So go to @InThisRing. Go to @JoePisapia17. That's PISAPIA17. And @Tim_Heaney. And we were going to put that poll out there, and we'll run it through, and we hope you get involved in it. Tell us, do you want to do top 5 WrestleMania moments or top 5 WrestleManias, period, full card? Either I think are acceptable. They're both good options. So convince us. Get into the conversation. Get with us. Plus, subscribe on iTunes to In This Ring podcast. You can listen to us here. We're going to do some cross-promotion work with Wrestling Perspective, too. We're going to be on there a ton as well on their site. You can also hear us at inthisleague.com over with Bogman and Welsh. If you're a sports fan, they got a ton of sports podcasts on there, too. And our podcast is there as well. This was fun today. I feel better, Tim. I feel a little bit cleansed that I got some of that rage. I really do. I'm sure it's going to – there was a little catharsis, but I'm sure by the time we come back next week, I'm going to be more raged again. Now, here's the thing. I'm on vacation Monday, Tuesday with my kids, so I'm going to have to basically watch everything and get back to we might not have the show for you Wednesday the same time we always do. It might be pushed a little bit, but I promise you it will be worth it. We will be ready to go. It'll be a WrestleMania preview show, Action Spectacular. We'll go a little longer if we have to. We'll break down the matches for you. We'll do everything that you need because, well, we're the people's show. Any closing thoughts before we go home here, Mr. Heaney?
My closing thought is I'm actually putting the poll up right now on Twitter. So
my God. Yeah, let it go up there for a couple days. Let's
it's a 5-day poll.
Oh my God, nothing like a good 5-day poll. Let me tell you. My uncle had one of those. He took one of those blue pills, and he had one of those 5-day polls. The next thing you know, he's in the hospital. So,
oh boy,
rough gauge. All right, again, follow us on Twitter at InThisRing, at JoePisapia17, at Tim_Heaney, and of course, go subscribe, like us, comment over on iTunes at InThisRing, and remember, kids, to be the man, you gotta beat the men, and we are the men. Woo!